Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. However you're listening to my voice, I appreciate it. We've had a huge weekend in pro wrestling. Don Taku, AEW, Rampage after Dynamite, but no Collision. NXT, it's been a while since I've talked to you guys, and I'm going to be talking to you guys all about all that stuff, but in the next coming episodes, because this is all about WWE main roster. Of course, WWE Backlash review. I gave you my predictions. There's some WWE releases, but we also had a brand new champion in WWE Speed, Johnny Gargano versus Ricochet for the tournament finals, the tournament championship. Who's going to be crowned the new, very first ever WWE Speed champion? Not just 3 minutes here for this match, but 5. Ricochet lands on his feet from a moonsault attempt, setting up Johnny to dive on him with a tornado DDT to the floor. Gargano escape. Ricochet powers out, goes up top. No one home. Poison Rana from Gargano, German from Ricochet. Neither man can put the other one away. But then Ricochet hits the GTH and to get a 2 count. Less than a minute remains. Hits the lethal injection. 1, 2, 3. So doing 2 AEW finishers to get the victory on Speed, hitting Sammy Guevara's GTH, and then also hitting Jay Lethal's lethal injection. I thought that was kind of interesting. And he's the new champion. He posted on Twitter, I'm good at tournaments. He's won the Battle of Los Angeles twice. He's won the Best of the Super Juniors, and now here he is winning WWE Speed, the inaugural champion. But he's going to go up against the winner of this new tournament, Apollo Crews versus Ibar on one side of the bracket, and then Tyler Bate versus Humberto on the other side of the bracket. I think it'd be kind of cool to see him go up against any one of these guys. I mean, we've seen him had a good match against Ibar recently, so let's count him out, moving up Apollo. I know him and Apollo were roommates at one point. They were also in Dragon Gate together. They kind of moved around the indies, similar time periods, so I think it'd be cool to see him go wrestle Ricochet. They're not really doing too much with him either. Where Tyler Bate and Humberto on the other side of the bracket, they got things going on SmackDown. So I think the purpose of WWE Speed is to get some of these guys some shine, and I also think Apollo and Ricochet are going to have good chemistry. But let's get into it, y'all. As there's a train coming by my neighborhood, I'm sure you can hear it. We have some bad news. Speed, great news. WWE releases, bad news. I'll just say, Gable Stevens release from the WWE. It kind of breaks my heart. Not the release that he got released specifically, but the story. I remember watching him win the gold medal in the Olympics. I think it was July 2021. I was able to see, or was it July 2022? I think it was 2020. It was 2021, and I just remember him, he got the points he needed as time was ticking down to 0. It's like unheard of, last second victory in this sport. Cool to see an American win a gold medal in collegiate wrestling, Olympic wrestling. And then the guy signs to the WWE. So I was like, okay, this guy's going to be the man here. I'm excited. Maybe not the next Kurt Angle, but definitely something cool and someone cool to follow. But then these allegations came out, and then the allegations kind of stuck. They didn't really seem to get shaken off too well. Not a good argument against what he was being accused of. Didn't seem to be getting better as he wrestled Baron Corbin, not a crowd favorite by any means, who was getting a huge ovation, and kind of anytime he would Gable Stevens was getting in kind of offense. He was getting booed like ferociously from the crowd, kind of like Jericho a few months ago. The AEW crowd, the crowd was sabotaging the match and the story they were trying to tell, overshining the moves in the ring, to let the WWE backstage know that they don't like this guy. They don't think what he was being accused of was cool, and I guess they believe the accuser. and apparently he wasn't really picking up on what he needed to be picking up on as well. So they had to let him go. I understand it. I don't want to say good riddance, but somewhere in between. I'm not surprised, and good riddance falls on how I feel about Gable Stevens being let go. And I hope he's innocent, because I don't want anyone to be sexually assaulted. So I hope he's innocent. So yeah, I'm just going to move on there. Drew Gulak, hired on along with the Cruiserweight Classic, a staple of 205 Live, has been released as well. He even main evented SmackDown with Daniel Bryan during the pandemic era. He fell down the card and then into NXT, and then these allegations, more allegations by Ronda Rousey. She said on a big news outlet that after she was asked if she had ever been sexually harassed in the WWE, she said, well, yeah, not by Vince McMahon. So she's kind of like pushing Drew Gulak over to this area of things that Vince McMahon was being accused of. And the allegation was that Drew Gulak pulled on her drawstring while other officials were around, and she found that inappropriate. He said something at the time, apparently, from what she said, but she thought it was hollow. He said that he was going for a handshake, and then it was like an awkward situation. Obviously not as serious of allegations as what Gable Stevens was being accused of. But just, I think Drew caused WWE to get really bad press here, kind of linked this new generation to this old regime that they're trying to separate themselves from, and they weren't really even using Drew Gulak that much anyway, so he got pulled from TV right away, and then a few weeks later, he gets released here. I don't necessarily want to say breaks my heart. I'm a fan of Drew Gulak. I don't think, I can see him being a goofy, awkward guy, and I can see Ronda Rousey not really understanding him and kind of making it a little bit more dramatic than it seemed to be. Of course, Drew Gulak was the trainer for CZW. He trained, a lot of girls. No one's ever said anything about that before, or even come out now that Ronda spoke out. So I don't think that this is as serious as Gable Stevens, and maybe he'll make an indie run or something like that. I don't know. I'm tiptoeing around these things here. I don't really bring up a lot of these issues a lot in this wrestling podcast, but we have also some other releases. Emma Diaz, never really seen her around. I didn't watch the WWE Roku show. Apparently she was on Halloween Costume Rumble. I guess she was in a costume wrestling here. She took the L to Lola Vice in 2024, and she says she's taking indie booking. So, I think maybe if she has the WWE seasoning and not the NXT ego, she will probably do well in the indies. Tiller Bucktrot. What a name. If they give you this name, I think that, you don't last too long. If it's really his name, then that's cool too. He took a lot of L's in NXT and he's gone. Julian Baldi, an Italian. I just watched a documentary about an Italian wrestler training in All Japan Dojo. I was listening to a post-wrestling podcast talk about this documentary, and I paused the podcast, checked out this documentary about All Japan Dojo. It was centered around an Italian wrestler. That's why I bring this up, Francesca Akira, who wrestles now in New Japan. So it was kind of a cool story. When I saw that he was Italian, that's what I thought. I don't know this guy, but he's apparently been around for 10 years. Ezekiel Bolagun, a basketball player turned wrestler, now turned retired wrestler. I wish him the best of luck. Keyshawn Ledford, this guy was a 6-time national champion, USA world champion here, but he's gone as well. Daryl Mason, a collegiate wrestler, national champ as well, is gone. Vlad Plavinko, track and field, gone. Kaya Saint took a lot of L's in NXT. She looked like she was going to stick around a bit, but she's gone. So mainly Gable Stevens and Drew Gulak, some unfortunate non-surprises, and then some people that you're kind of learning about for the first time getting released here. That shows you how many people they have signed to the WWE that they don't even use. But jumping over to Backlash, holy shit, what a crowd. That's the story of this show. The pre-show, nice video packages showing the history of WWE in France, going all the way back to Macho Man and Liz on the Eiffel Tower. But this is not Paris. This is in Lyon, France. A whole separate video package for Andre the Giant. That was cool. All these video packages were cool. Cody and AJ, Jay and Priest. The panel was interesting. Big E, CM Punk, and I think it's the same girl that's on hockey is doing the pre-show panels for WWE. The NHL girl is the WWE pre-show girl? I think it is. I don't know. CM Punk was saying some wild shit, of course he always does, but he was always looping it back around to a good point. France chanting CM Punk's name, just seeing him on the screen. French announcers get a huge pop coming out. I thought that was kind of cool. Michael Cole and Corey Graves saying that the crowd is like the loudest they've ever seen it ever. And this was all during the pre-show. When we get to the show proper, they lead in with yet another sick video package to kick off the show. Next week starts the King and the Queen of the Ring tournament, and that's pretty much it. The story of the show was this crowd. I have every single match ranked from worst to first, and let me see here. Let me make sure this is all right here. I'm trying to get my shit together here live on air. Actually recorded on air, but I'm not editing this shit. There was a big pause here. I'm just making sure every match was ranked from first to worst well. And hold on, here we go. This is my notes are in order, officially in order, guys. In real time, I set that up for you. And the worst match on the show, number 5, is the world title match. Not the Cody's title, but Priest's title. Jay versus Priest. Jay, Jay seeing the bloodline in the back before getting ready for this matchup here might have psyched him out a bit. The entrance was crazy. Entrance, possibly best entrance of the night. Never told France to put down their hands because they kept him high. He was dancing around. They had their flashlights on their phones out as he's just dancing in the ring. They're yeeting. He's yeeting. Damian Priest didn't get that big of a reaction, but he did get like a 3D sorcerer shooting a fire bow and arrow graphic thing during it. That was kind of cool. The match rings. As the bell sounds, Jay is just kind of using this like electrifying energy to like just wave his hands at the crowd, and it just sends this like motion of yeet. He does it to the left side, and then they all do it back at him, yelling yeet. The right side, the back side, the entrance side. He's got the crowd in the palm of his hand, but Priest gains control, gets the momentum. It sways back towards Jay. JD McDonough comes out, starts bickering with Priest. Priest doesn't want him out there. Uso takes him out and then also kicks Priest 1-2 no. Razor's Edge by Priest 1-2 no. And then Finn Balor shows up. Jay kicks him, but Priest is able to get a clothesline after that distraction. This is awesome. Chants from the French crowd. Jay hits a kick and a spear. Uso splash 1-2. JD puts Priest's foot on the rope, on the bottom rope. Crowd chants "fuck you, JD." That "fuck you" I guess is universal in this French-speaking audience. Uso takes both of them out again. South of Heaven chokeslam from the top by Priest. 1, 2, 3. Priest gets the victory here. JD and Finn start attacking Jay, and Priest cuts him off. Looks like there's problems with Judgment Day because, Priest wants to be a good guy, and Judgment Day still wants to be Judgment Day, so there's problems here arising. And then the fourth match on the show, not the worst match, but didn't make the podium, the women's tag title match, Kabuki Warriors versus Jade versus Bianca. Entrances, they seem to be interested in Bianca, but not as much as Bianca and Jade, but not as much as the women's triple threat here. It was really interesting to see what Jade's reaction would be, and they are saying her name along with the commentator, with the introduction, and she loves it here. They say they love her. She says that they love her, and she says hate all you want, because she feels this crowd, this French crowd. And then the match begins. Wild cross body from the top to the floor by Kairi. I do have to say the crowd was not really into the Kabuki Warriors double teams here, which kind of disappointed me. When Jade got tagged in with the hot tag, they came alive. Stereo armbar and by the Kabuki Warriors, they break free. Lung blower into a wheelbarrow suplex by Bianca and Jade. Insane elbow from Kairi. 1-2. Jade breaks it up. Kairi off the top, caught in a powerbomb position, thrown around, turned around, tossed around into the Jaded. 1, 2, 3. Asuka gets hit with the KOD. 1, 2, 3. New champions here. Kind of a clunky match, but a good match on a great show. The crowd was behind him. I love Jade teaming with Bianca. It kind of gives Bianca something to do, because it seems like they already have ways they're going with the world titles. The singles championships, and then also Jade is the star who needs to get the rub from a bigger star at this point, like Bianca, and kind of cover up her greenness, which Bianca can do at this point. So I think it's a kind of a tip of the cap for Bianca, becoming such a good wrestler in such a short amount of time, and it also covers up Jade's weakness here and allows her to showcase her strength, which is her physical appearance and just her aura, I would say. But making the podium, the third best match on the show was the first best match on the show. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline. The entrance here, Kevin Owens really soaking in this crowd. Feels like, the story of Backlash last year is the story of Backlash this year, which is how hot this international audience is. Randy Orton comes out. They're singing with the Viper. Randy getting hyped up a bit here, even high-fiving a guy in the crowd, patting his heart, saying he feels it. Then they boo the Bloodline, but really they were kind of just there to cheer on the good guys here. So it was Solo's theme, and at this point, I don't think Tama Tonga really regrets his decision signing with WWE. Tama Tonga in very similar gear than he wore with New Japan, so not much is changing here. And they go at it right away, brawl before the bell, security holding them back at one point. One security guard catches a stunner, another security guard catches a stunner. All this comes out and says lâchez vous, or lâchez vie. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly at all, but it says do whatever you want. The crowd popped when he said it. Street fight, we know those words. The prime bottles become a problem, being used against the wrestlers as weapons. The hydration station gets spilt over. Fighting in the crowd, back in the ring. The good guys get trash cans, set up tables, and then Randy Orton gets Samoan dropped into the table by Solo Sikoa. 1, 2. Owens breaks it up or something like that, but it is a 2-on-1 against Owens, is how I'm supposed to be reading this. Randy comes back in, hits RKOs to Tonga. 1, 2. Solo breaks it up. They go to Solo, putting Randy through a table. Through the announce table, I guess. France gave it away because, Solo was standing up on the table, about to hit the Samoan spike, but they were already chanting RKO win. Randy is supposed to technically be on defense, but we've seen this a million times. He fakes it, and then he makes it, hitting the RKO through the table. Big superplex to Tama Tonga through an assorted amount of chairs by Kevin Owens. 1, 2. Ref gets pulled out, and then it's Tonga Loa, not Jacob Fatu, who was also rumored to be there, or not there, but was rumored to be a part of this bloodline. Tama Tonga's brother, Tonga Loa, Gorillas of Destiny, form in WWE, seemingly enough. Kevin Owens and Randy are getting attacked by steel steps. Solo hits the spike to Kevin Owens. 1, 2, 3. Tangaloa. Not a big fan of his New Japan run, but I think if you're going to bring him in, this is how you do it. He looks strong. They've done a great job with Tama Tonga so far, so I like this new era of Bloodline. I know, it's nowhere near the star power of The Rock being there or Roman being there or anything like that, but it's a nice fucking faction. They're doing a great job telling the story. Paul Heyman's scared to be there, standing up, still holding his one up, but completely terrified of what the Bloodline looks like outside of Roman Reigns' leadership. And then this is the first time we heard "un, deux, trois" from this crowd, and that was kind of cool. Kind of let you know that they are in another country. That was the third best match on the show. Second best match on the show, the women's triple threat, the women's world title match. Tiffy, Naomi, Bayley, entrances. I mean, this European crowd's going to eat up this EDM music. The crowd was jumping up and down as Naomi was dropping it low. Entrance of the night, maybe. I don't know. They were into the other wrestlers, I would say, a little bit more during the match, but the entrance, you got to give the nod to Naomi. Naomi twerked on Tiffy's head at one point in the match. That was kind of wild. Tiffy hitting the Sasuke special of sorts. Crowd loves it. Bayley catches her in the Sasuke special, and Tiffy able to get out of a German suplex attempt. Then hitting the Alabama Slam. Naomi hits a blockbuster off the rail to the floor. Bayley to belly, 1, 2, no. Every time there was a 2 count, the crowd would chant this simplement dua, which meant just 2, as explained to me by someone on Twitter or X. Alabama Slam on the announcer's table to not only Naomi, but also Bayley. Prettiest moonsault ever. Both ladies move out the way. And then she rolls through, turns around, and gets hit with the 1D. Naomi's husband's double team finisher done with her and Bayley. That was kind of cool. Roll up by Bayley to Naomi. 1, 2, 3. Bayley retains. Solid match. Surprised that Bayley didn't win as handedly as I thought she would have, but I'm not surprised that Bayley won it all. But the number 1 match here, you got to give it up to him. 2 technicians in the ring. 2 world-class athletes, and if it was just a regular crowd, I think I would give the nod to the triple threat, but this crowd ate up everything these guys were going to do, and guys that could go with the best of them still to this day took the pace slow, and it was interesting to watch. AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes. The entrances, I mean, Cody's fucking over. What do you want me to say about the entrances? Just go watch it. The entrances are the story of the show. Both opponents feeling each other out in the early going, and there are dueling chants. Crowd woos along with the chops, and then Cody does the Stardust taunt like AJ Styles did to him a few nights ago, or I think even last night. And then at one point, the crowd jumping up and down and singing, the hard cam shaking at one point, and these guys are just doing drop kicks and backdrops. I don't know. At this point, I didn't know why the crowd was doing it. And then they start jumping and singing again. And I think they're doing it to encourage Cody to rise up. Every time Cody is down, they're doing this dance, this chant to kind of get him fired back up. Action goes to the floor and then up top. And then no man really has distinct advantage. Cody down, and then they go back to their jumping and dancing type of thing. Springboard moonsault. Cody gets his knees up. AJ hits a neck breaker on the apron. Crowd jumping again, but Cody not budging. Cody gets up, catches AJ Styles in the powerbomb position, puts him through the announcer's table. Strike battle. They both go down, and then they continue to strike battle, milking this historically hot crowd for all it's worth. This is when I realized this match was the best match on the show, because they weren't just in awe of this crowd. They had the crowd. It was great to see in the middle of the match. They had the crowd in the body of the match, not just the entrances or not just at the end. AJ with the upper hand hits a burning hammer. 1 count, no. Then Cody starts hulking up. Cody cutter, 1, 2, no. Cody locks in the forearm, hurting the phenomenal forearm by AJ. AJ powers up and drops the champ. Cody cutter, crossroads, 1, 2, 3. Cody retains the title, and it's the best match on the show, just like WrestleMania. because of the aura, because of the ambiance, because of the big fight feel that Cody was able to bring to this world title match. Yeah, holy shit. The story of the year so far is this Cody title reign, or, is Cody going to win the title? Now that he has it, what's going to happen? And what's going to happen is he's going to not necessarily steal the show, but have the best match on the show with one of the best wrestlers in the world today, AJ Styles, in fucking France. That was cool. I'm excited. I'm about to catch up on some AEW, about to catch up on NXT and some New Japan here. Maybe watch UFC 301. Who knows? I'm going to fuck around and get an MMA show tonight. Who knows? Fly high. I'm out.